Hey sis, it's your big sis Monique Renewed. Welcome back for another video. This week's topic is how to deal with strict parents. Oh my goodness. When I was in high school, I swear my mom did not let me do anything. So we will dive right in. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Monique. I make Christian lifestyle videos and teen advice videos. So if you're into that, I welcome you to subscribe. If you are a returning viewer, thank you girl for clicking on this video. Now let's get started. So if you grew up anything like me, then you probably grew up dealing with strict parents. Like they would not let you out the house for nothing. They would not let you do anything. And you're probably asking yourself like, why won't you let me live my life? Like I just want to live my life. You know, a verse that really stood out to me was Hebrews 12:10 that says, "For our earthly fathers disciplined us for a few years, doing the best that they knew how. But God's discipline is always good for us, that we may share his holiness." So discipline does have its purpose in order to make us into better people. But sometimes parents can be overly strict and it can leave their children socially underdeveloped. I know I kind of am in a sense. I don't really like to be around people. I'm not that social. And I think my childhood does have a lot to do with it. And some kids, you know, when they get a taste of freedom because they had like really overly strict parents, they go buck wild, okay? They turn out to be everything that their parents were afraid of in the first place. So I do believe there is a balance between being too lenient and too strict. I'm coming from now being a parent to also being a child that had a really strict mother. So when it comes to dealing with your strict parents, first I want you to, like we always do, get to the root cause why your parents may be acting the way that they do. I want you to gain understanding, and with that understanding, it will help you try to not make irrational decisions and maybe lash out on your parents. So consider the fact that it may be cultural. I know with my mom she was a Haitian woman, okay? So she did not play that. You know how Caribbean parents are. So she came from a strict cultural background herself. It could also be from generational patterns. Consider maybe the grandparents and the parents before that, how they acted, and those traits being passed along to your parents and them projecting that onto you. I think most important of all is fear. Parents, all of us have this fear of our children being harmed for some reason or some type of scenario going down that is out of our control, and we only want the best for our kids. So consider that when facing or trying to deal with your strict parents. So like that Bible verse said, parents, some of them out here are just trying to do the best we can with what we've been taught and with what we know. Being said, let's get into 7 ways how to handle or deal with your strict parents. I have to say these first couple of ways are going to be dealing mainly with you, okay? And then we'll get to the other side. But first, I want you to change your perspective. Changing your perspective does not mean to minimize your feelings. That's not what I want you to do here. I understand how it feels to feel like everybody else in the world is having fun but you. But it's to look at things from a different point of view. You know, some kids out here have very overly lenient parents that let them do whatever they want, and you see those type of kids that are out here that are like that. They get to drink, smoke, party, go wherever they want, do whatever they want, and it is not good for them in the future. And I'm not saying all kids who have lenient parents are like this, but I'm saying like that could be an effect if they choose to do those type of things. You know, I watch a lot of true crime TV, okay? Some kids, because their parents literally didn't care what they did, were sold into prostitution, kidnapped, or even murdered. Like, I'm not trying to be a pessimist, I'm trying to be a realist, and that really does happen. It doesn't apply for everybody, of course, but you know what I mean. Kids need that guidance from their parents. So yeah, it sucks, but you never know how God works. Some things are probably prevented because of your strict parents. Because they told you no, they probably prevented you from a shootout at some party, okay? I hate to say it, but sometimes you need to change your perspective and look at things from a bird's eye view and take it for how it is. Number 2, don't make it worse. Okay, do not make it worse. Do not follow the advice of teenagers just like your age telling you to go lying and sneaking out the house. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Your parents at the end of the day still deserve your respect, okay? So if they say the final answer is no, let it be. Okay, it's not worth 10 minutes of fun to be sneaking out the house, climbing up the window, sneaking a boy in, okay? Lying to your parents, because they probably will find out eventually. And if they do find out, they will be even more strict on you, okay? It's not gonna be good for you at the end. So you don't want to lose the trust of your parents by being sneaky and trying to deceive them and hiding stuff from them, because that is exactly what they'll happen. They'll lose trust. I'm sorry to say, but some parents might eventually give up on you and let you do whatever you want and let the streets have you.
She don't want to be saved, don't save her.
Or they will be even more strict on you if you make the situation worse. So don't do that. And then you're just gonna be known as the child who was rebellious. How many of these parents out here be talking about their kids to other family members?
Oh, they did this, they did that. You see what they did the other day.
Don't be that kid, okay? That gets talked about throughout the whole family. Number 3, examine yourself first, okay? Like I said, these first 3 are gonna be more so focusing on you, and then I'll get to the point where you can work with your parents. But examine yourself. Some parents are strict with children who do well in school, who don't get in trouble, who don't do none of that stuff, and they're still strict for no reason. But are you the type of person who is talking back to their parents, disrespecting their teachers, failing classes, getting into trouble, not helping out around the house, back talking, cussing them out and all that stuff? If you're that type of child and you're demanding your parents to be less strict, please ask yourself, why do you deserve leniency? Why? You are giving your parents a reason to be strict on you if you're behaving in that manner. So really reflect on yourself first. Say, okay, is my behavior deserving of this treatment? If it is, then you need to work on yourself first, work on improving yourself, and then get to the part where you start asking your parents, you know, hey, can you let me do this? But if you're not there yet, then you need to work on yourself first. Okay, so now that we've dealt with you, let's get on to the next part. If your behavior does not warrant these restrictions and you feel as though your parents don't really let you do anything, number 4 is to try to communicate with them. Consider having a talk with your parents and ask them if you guys can possibly come to a compromise.
Okay, well, can you let me do this and I can be home around this time?
See what works for them, what works for the both of you, and come at them with maturity. Don't start whining and complaining to them, because that's not attractive and they're most likely going to say no. You know, let them know first, you know what, mom and dad, I appreciate what you do for me. I appreciate your protection and I see why you do it, you know, and I really understand. But can you allow me to do this, whatever it is that you want to do for this period of time, and see what they say. They may say no at first, and maybe eventually they'll start to think about it and say, okay, you know what, they are a good kid. They don't really get into trouble. Okay, fine. So communicate with your parents. Number 5 is to use familiarity. Because of fear of the unknown is why a lot of parents are really strict. If you want to do things that don't really exacerbate their fears, such as attend after school activities or school events, youth church events, or hanging out with family friends, most likely they'll say yes to that because it's already familiar. They're already gonna know who you're gonna be with, where you're gonna be at. You know, use something familiar with your parents so that they're not paranoid about what you're doing or who you're gonna be with. Try introducing your friends to your parents. You know, make sure you got decent friends that you can introduce to your parents in the first place. Once your parents get to know your friends, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, you can hang out with such and such, whatever. Or try seeing if your friends could hang out at your house instead of you being out at somebody else's house. They might be more comfortable with that because you're not out. You know, try doing things that will calm their fears and their nerves so that they know exactly who you're with and where you're going. Use familiar environments and familiar people. You know, my mom would let me hang out with family friends that she knew, you know, she didn't have a problem with that. Or she, you know, school events, I would explain to her, you know, after school activities that I needed on my college resume. Like, this is essential. You need to let me out the house for this at least. And she would say, okay, fine. You know, stuff like that. Stuff that they can't really say no to. Like, it would make no sense. I can't hang out with my cousin. Like, now, child, if your parents are so strict, they won't even allow the last option. I'm sorry to say, but you have to realize that this is temporary and come to peace with the situation, okay? There's no point of battling your parents, fighting your parents over it, that they won't even allow you to hang out with people that they know or that, you know, they're familiar with, like school and church and stuff like that. I would say, yeah, you definitely need to come to peace about the situation and realize this is temporary. This is not going to be lasting forever. Like the verse says, our earthly father's discipline is for a short while. It's not going to last forever. Eventually, you're going to have to graduate from school, get a job, get a car, move out, go off to college, whatever your path is. You're gonna get your freedom eventually and be able to do what you want to do as an adult. And maybe later on down the line, you'll understand why they acted the way they did. Yeah, it sucks, but come to an understanding that this is not gonna be forever. Last but not least, number 7 is find other people who can relate to you. I had friends that were, you know, of Hispanic or Caribbean descent as well, and their parents were just as strict as my parents. So, you know, we shared stories, we laughed about it, cried about, okay, We didn't cry about it, but you know, we will have our talks about it. And it did make me feel better to realize that I wasn't alone in this situation, that there are other kids who had similar parents going through the same struggle as I did. So I would say find some friends who can relate to you on that level and just talk to them about it. And it's not gonna change the situation, but it's gonna make you help you feel better. And rather than you just, you know, moping around about the situation, it will help you to feel less isolated. So that is it for you guys. That is my 7 tips on how to deal with strict parents. Let me know what you think, or if there's any other tips that you would like to share below. I would love to hear them. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up if you'd like. Hit that notification bell so you'll know the next time I upload a video. And I will chat with you guys later. Bye. For our earthly father, change your perspective does not. My son is yelling. Uh-oh. That's that Haitian coming out of me. I'm sorry. Trey, go to your room. You loud. You mad loud, bro.
Yeah, it's super loud. Can you go?
You know, I watch a lot of crime. Oh my gosh, this thing is getting on my nerves. Why you keep cutting off? Y'all see that highlight though? Y'all see that highlight? Yes. Number 5, use familiarity. Can't even say it. Number 5, use familiarity. I can't even say the word. Familiarity. If they are so strict that they won't even